Money. From a young age, many people think about how can you make the most amount of money in a short period of time. At the age of 15, I managed to turn $400 into $8,000 in the course of 8 months. In today's video, not only will I be talking about how I managed to turn my investments into a 20x return, however, I'll also be talking about the mistakes that I've made and just in general how you could learn from them. Before we get into this video, I am not a financial advisor in any means or forms. It's important to do your research and please enjoy the video. From a young age, I always thought to myself, how can I make the most amount of money possible in the shortest period of time? And originally, I believed that following a traditional route such as getting a job and building out from there would be ideal. However, in reality, I was still too young to even apply for a job. So I originally started investing in March of 2020 when the pandemic hit in the United States. And in this period of time, I didn't really understand how the markets were performing. So randomly, when I was looking for beats on YouTube, I came across a video by Ricky Gutierrez that was called The Boring Life of a Stock Millionaire. And just from that video alone, I knew that from that day on, I wanted to become a professional day trader. So before I started investing, I of course had to start some kind of base to have some money to start with. And it all began when I decided to sell my PS4 and a tennis racket, where I ended up saving around $400 for my first investments. And my goal by the end of high school was to make $5,000 from a $400 investment. However, in reality, I had no idea what was to come. So for my first investment, I actually learned about stop losses. And at the time, my strategy was to buy low and sell high. And to be completely honest, I had no idea what I was doing when I decided to make my first investment. And during that time period, I was actually looking at different news sources and websites that talked about stocks, just looking for a stock that could give the biggest returns in the shortest amount of time possible. Now, in August of 2020, I had around $490 in my stock account, and that's when I decided to invest in a resorts company named MGM Resorts. Pause. So in the next part of the video, it gets really interesting. However, the audio actually worsens, so I'm really sorry about it. But anyways, back to the video. And I really want to point out why it was easier to invest in back then rather than it is now, because investing isn't as easy as it seems. So when COVID hit in March of 2020, we saw a 30% dip since the highs of February of 2020. And for that reason, the market actually rebounded relatively quickly, so every investor was making money back. And the reason why the market actually rebounded so quickly was because the government was actually printing lots of money. And for that reason, we went into quantitative easing, which led to stimulus checks being sent out. So people essentially had extra money for which they could invest in because they believed that our economy was being properly managed. Also, company buyouts stimulated additional growth, which wasn't natural or proper in stocks. So in reality, I was investing recklessly. However, somehow my reckless investments were paying off. And initially my strategy was to look at different websites such as pennystocks.com and Investopedia, just to look at different conferences that were coming up for these stocks and just in general news that could stimulate high amounts of growth. So although I wasn't really good at looking at technical analysis, I was for sure good at looking for just in general small cap stocks that could have a huge potential to break out. And I want to talk about my first mistake. So essentially, I was buying stocks that were being short squeezed and pumped. However, this wasn't really investing. So although the stock was up around 30% in the course of a day, the next day it actually dumped around 15%. And after continuously doing this, my stock portfolio was actually losing thousands of dollars in the course of days. And this is when I really started to learn about just in general fact sheets, portfolio management, and just in general the basics. And another key thing that I learned while investing is the importance of technical analysis. Now we could actually look at patterns and determine if the stock could go up or down, but also just in general looking at the market. If the stock could release great news, however the market is down, that could also mean your stock is down. And just small things like this really impacted me and made me a better investor. And for the people who are interested, I actually created a video about financial and economic trends for which I'm predicting a financial stock market crash in the term of March to April of 2023. If you'd like to see that video, the link is right here and you could also see it in the description down below. Another mistake that I've made as a beginner investor was not diversifying, and as important as it sounds and as many times as you've heard, diversifying is so important because let's just say that one of your stocks goes down 20% and you never diversified. So this goes on to my next point. Don't invest in more than you could afford. I would say that around 10 to 20% of your disposable income is a safe amount of money to start investing with. Now, if we want to be even more safe in that matter, we could create stop losses. And many of you may be asking, when is the right time to create a stop loss? So there isn't an exact time to put a stop loss. However, a good way to create that stop loss is putting it right under the stock's resistance point, or just simply going with a percentage, such as 2 to 5% below the stock's current price. And just in general, you'll be feeling a lot better emotionally and you'll financially be more secure. And I really want to tell you the truth about investing because investing isn't as easy as it seems. Seeing 40% returns in the course of a day is extremely rare, and just in general, being successful doesn't come overnight. And that's it for this video. I really appreciate it if you could like, comment, or subscribe, and just in general spread this message because I really want to tell people the truth about investing and talk about my journey. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video.